Deadly tornadoes sweeping through Tennessee.
At least 2 tornadoes touched down, including one that caused heavy damage near downtown Nashville.
So right now we're with Ashley Quinn, Builders Mutual customer and owner of Cygnus Construction. We wanted to check in with him about the impact of these tornadoes. So Ashley, tell us a little bit about your business and maybe what kind of projects you're working on.
Sure, so we're a infill spec home builder, build about 25 units a year. It's a combination of single family, a lot of duplexes here in Nashville due to the zoning, and some smaller townhome communities.
So what's your connection to this community? Did you grow up here, or is this home for you?
No, it's home now, but I grew up in St. Louis, moved here to go to Vanderbilt in '99, and just fell in love with the city.
So tell us, and now great growth, everything's rocking along just perfect, and along comes a tornado. So tell us about how this disaster has really impacted you, impacted your business.
Sure, so obviously not something you expect, and go to bed at night and get annoyed that your Dateline episode is interrupted by a tornado warning up in Kentucky. I'm saying, why are they even telling us about this? It's 45 minutes north of us. And went to sleep that night, and were woken up by the sirens in the middle of the night. I live in Germantown, and we were just directly in the path of the tornado. So with very short notice, we got the 3 kids downstairs, huddled up in the powder room, and before you knew it, things were calm again. Went out to the street just thinking it was a regular storm had gone through, and saw some debris from a construction site down the road, and we had siding and plywood laying in our front yard, and was like, whoa, I can't believe that happened, but just went back to sleep not understanding the devastation until the next morning. Walked out and walked up to the corner at 7th and Monroe, and just couldn't believe my eyes. Ran back to the house and grabbed the wife. I said, get the girls up, grab the baby, you guys got to see this. And devastation was just really something, you see it on TV and it doesn't really resonate until you see it in person, and especially when it's in your own neighborhood. So
it just gave me goosebumps as you're talking about that, grabbing the baby and,
oh, yeah.
and having to.
And how close was your house, you said? How far?
I'd say we were 150 yards from houses that had their roofs torn off. I mean, It's just really on the other side of our 4-way stop. Houses with front walls kicked in and knocked over. It was really close. It's startling, and the lack of warning is something that's scary as well. So you hear those sirens, and you hear them in Nashville once a year, every other year, and don't really take it seriously. Check it on your phone, and it's not going to impact me, right? So I really didn't think about our construction sites probably for a good 24 hours.
And where you live to where your job sites are, how close are you?
We've got one. We've got an 18-unit townhome development. Obviously, have the insurance policies with Builders Mutual. Maybe a half a mile. That Delta project, just on the west side of Rosa Parks, and that was completely unscathed, right off the interstate. So if you guys probably got off, if you've been up in that area at Rosa Parks, and it's amazing doing that drive now. And if you guys will do it today, you see all the downtown new buildings, the HCA buildings on your right. Everything's perfectly intact.
Yeah.
And you say, where'd this tornado go? And as you continue north, you can just see the path of destruction, like just very clear, 4 or 5 houses wide.
I think the start of the tornado probably started about 20 miles west. So it was formed, and they said, I think it was a small F3, F2, F3, when it hit Nashville, and it just gained momentum. And if you look at the geography of Nashville, I tell people this all the time, if you look at Nashville, we're in a bowl. So it basically got on the top side of that bowl and just gained speed, gained power, and you could just tell the whole swath just got bigger and bigger. So I think you guys are going east, and that's obviously where it went. You'll be able to tell the breadth of destruction that came in, but it's amazing that the pinpoint that landed right here in Nashville, and it's a little squiggly line, but it's pretty direct. And so the houses on either side, a little bit of damage, but where it hit, it destroyed what was in its path.
So Ashley, how has your experience been so far with Builders Mutual and how we've responded to the situation?
It's been amazing. I couldn't ask for any better. I've got a great agent, obviously, that set me up with you guys, and again, it's been flawless. The response was immediate, and had the adjuster out there on site. Didn't even have to meet him. He went out there, he saw the damage, texted me a picture and said, "Is this it?" I said, "That's it." So he said, "I've seen enough."
Yeah. Was it a total loss?
Just about. So there's 2 houses on one lot, as we do here in Nashville. One of them was about 95% framed. They were just finishing the decking on the roof, and that one's torn all the way down. All the framing's gone. It's torn down to the first floor system is intact, and the subfloor on the first floor, and the block's intact. So we lost the 2 walls and the second floor and all the roof. And then the house behind it was a Superior Walls construction, precast panel walls, 3-sided, and so it was just held up by temporary bracing, and the 2 walls that were opposite each other toppled and cracked. So we'll have to replace those as well.
Start over.
Pretty much, yeah.
What stands out to you about Builders Mutual in this circumstance?
Luckily, this is my first situation like this where we're dealing with the devastation of loss, but I think a lot of times people have in their minds a notion of insurance companies that they'll take your money and then try to get out of paying you back, and so obviously that was a fear. It's a big dollar value that we're dealing with here, and there was nothing of that sort. So just the complete willingness to help. There's been nothing asked of me, really. Like I said, I didn't even have to go out to the site to meet with anybody, and I just feel completely supported and grateful that you guys are taking care of everything.
I know builder's risk isn't one of those things that you think about every day. It's just something you have to have.
That's
and
right.
As you say, you probably haven't had a builder's risk claim, or many of them before.
Yeah,
right?
we had our first claims on those 18 townhomes by our house. It's in a high crime area, and we had some break-ins. In my mind, that's why we have it, because a lot of the areas we work in, and tornado certainly never crosses your mind.
The timing was interesting too, because I just texted. I tried to get to most of my clients and that I thought were in the path. I said, "Hey, you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're good." So yeah, kind of moved on to the next client. It's like, great, they're fine. And moved on to the next client. Then I get a text and, "Hey, you have a time for a phone call?" And then basically that's when everybody's assessing. And I still think that people are still assessing some of the damage that they have. It's like, hey, we've got a couple houses. Like, I would have never thought in a million years that were damaged and they were in the path. But from the time of that phone call till the phone call to CW, and then CW went out because he was probably the only one that could get out there. I couldn't even get out there. I tried to drive, and they were very protective of anybody getting into the sites for looting, so forth, which is great for public protection. But I'd say a matter of 3 or 4 days, everything was settled and communication was great, and it was like, hey, everything's gonna be taken care of. There's gonna be some timing issues, but we'll have it all taken care of. And for that to happen is pretty amazing, because I definitely have a couple other carriers that it's prolonged. They've got to get to management staff, they've got to get approval, they have to have somebody come out and take a look and fly in maybe from Atlanta or from New Jersey, so which is obviously not the case. The immediate standpoint of Builders Mutual coming in and helping out definitely lets me do something different, and also to him to go on vacation next week and know that, hey, everything's settled. There's nothing uneasy. And it makes my relationship obviously better with him, because we've got it figured out. So now we can go on and do our business the way we need to. So, that's probably the biggest thing for me, is biggest help.
Well, let's turn our attention to you then for a little bit.
I want to eat a piece of
Well, eat a piece of egg. Eat a piece of egg.
You take that bite, and I'm going to interject one thing that I forgot about in all the chaos until this moment. So I had a phone call from Builders Mutual and said, hey, this is Sue with Builders Mutual, just checking on our builders. Understand you guys had a storm down there. Is there anything we can do for you? Do you have any claims? I said, actually, I just spoke to my agent, and I don't know is that the reason you're calling me? He said, no, we're checking on people to be proactive and see what we can do to help. So that was pretty cool.
Have you ever gotten a call from your insurance company?
Oh God, no! I've never met any. I've never met any individual person other than Builders Mutual folks.
Ken and his team deserve a lot of credit for that. That was their idea to reach out, and that's what makes our company a little different. This is all we do. Yeah. We only insure builders, and so we're trying to make sure that we get across this point that we understand your life a little bit better than maybe other carriers do. I don't know. As an agent, does that come through in how we operate?
Oh, no question. From the phone calls, from the local presence here to, you guys are just a state away, but the reaction, having some of the top management come in and put hands and feet on the ground and be able to see exactly what's going on, that doesn't happen right now. Mutual company and or non-mutual company, it just doesn't happen for whatever reason. So the involvement also too from the builder side, I mean, that's just one special niche, and that's what we pay premiums for. We have a piece of paper, but at the end of the day, it's the communication that's absolutely critical. Even if it's a phone call, a text, but still, you guys come in person. We're sitting down here now having a discussion about it, but from top to bottom, it's what you guys do.
That's awesome. When that disaster strikes, what's your biggest fear?
That you don't get out in enough time to answer the questions, because I know that, if I'm relying on somebody to handle a piece of business for me and I can't get in touch with them, I can't get my answers fast enough. And we're in a world right now that we have to know now, and when disaster strikes, we got to know yesterday. I mean, we had to figure this stuff out. So having the right answers, having the honest answers, and communicate. And once you do all that, then I think that's a success for me. I feel like I've done what I was asked to do. And then,
how does Builders Mutual, or how did we play into that? How successful
the
were
same
we
thing
in getting
as
you?
Ashley was saying, the communication is great. It was great on our side. I think that our relationship is a little different. I sit on a council with Builders Mutual, so I get to visit with you guys a lot more than most of the agents do. But I can only imagine if the same thing goes for other agents that are not on a council or don't see you from time to time during the year. The communication was fantastic, and I think that normally on things like this, the management team of a company kind of sets back, and you have to kind of work through some of the layers, and that's not the case with Builders Mutual, which is, and that's what I tell everybody. I mean, it's a company that's built for builders, period.
Any other big surprises for you during this?
One thing that I really appreciated and was surprised about was that we were able to get back to work so quickly. I figured that you guys would come out and put the crime scene tape around and try to figure out what happened and be counting sticks and dollars. But within, I think, 48 hours, I was talking to you all through Alan and said, can we start cleaning up? We've got lots of pictures and we've got a framer that now has no work and he's wanting to get at it. So Alan said, yeah, he got a bunch of pictures and talked to you and said it was okay to proceed. So we were out there cleaning it up within a couple days, and we've actually got lumber dropping on Monday, and we'll have that house framed here in 2 weeks.
Just a temporary setback.
Temporary setback, yeah. I think before I was able to actually get to the site and put my eyes on it, I was already instructing people to clean it up, which was great.
Sounds like the communication all the way around was the way it's supposed to be. We talk a lot about, we sell a policy, and we certainly have service, but we're selling a promise that when a claim happens, we're going to be there. And Ken and I were talking at the board meeting last week. It's like, this is our opportunity to deliver on that promise. And if you can be there, and if you can be there quickly, and you can help ease the fear that you as an agent and you as a customer have, then we've done our job, we hope. But it's really, truly an opportunity for us to show you guys who we are and what we do.
We did a good job of that, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think disaster planning pays off when you put it all together on paper and try to figure it out and execute a plan, which, you can't script it out better than that.
Well, guys, thanks again for your time this morning. Why don't we close it down right now and head out to the job site?
All right, let's do it.
Everywhere you look, there's damage.
Yeah, you can see the skyline. Just all you see in the lower side are blue tarps.
Yeah, so we're east of downtown, and it just went on the north side of downtown, so you can follow the blue tarps back and trace them to the north side of those buildings. See where it came through.
Incredible. So you had 2 homes on this site.
Yes, 2 homes. This is what we call the front house. This is a custom. We were hired by this client to build his personal house and then build this as a spec house in the back for sale. And so we've just had the superior walls set, getting ready to start framing this one here in about 2 weeks before the storm came. And this house was just lacking a little bit of the roof decking, but otherwise framed.
So fully framed.
Yep, all the lumber was on site, and we've actually already got 3 30-yard dumpsters of debris out of here. They've just dropped the 4th.
So trees everywhere, obviously.
Yep.
Well, look at there. You had your stain color, dark walnut, already picked out, ready to go.
I don't think that's our house. we weren't close to having flooring anywhere, so there's no telling where that came from. So this is the house. We're coming on the carport. This was a framed carport that attached to the house. 2-story house with a pitched roof that was probably a day away from being completed with the framing.
It took the entire house and
It did.
moved
yeah.
it. It was over on that property?
Yes, yeah, it fell that way. You can see the fence is damaged, and this guy's roof, I would imagine, was from our framing. I think we have some pictures of the house on top of that little brick building.
It's sort of hard to comprehend that this was a fully built home,
Right.
Because there's just nothing left. Well, guys, I think we're just about done. Again, I appreciate your time and appreciate you joining us.
Thank you guys for everything.
and Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ken, thanks. It's great meeting you.
Luck getting
Appreciate your
through
help.
Everything. I know there's a lot of work that still has to be done.
There absolutely is, as you can see.
Building Progress is a podcast from Builders Mutual. We are dedicated to protecting the construction industry through a wide range of commercial insurance products. At Builders Mutual, we have a passion for education, safety, and progress, and we're excited to share our expertise with our listeners. For more information, visit buildersmutual.com.